Yo.
What up?
Alright, I'm gonna make a level 110 Legion Beta Mistweaver guide. I'm actually kind of new to the class. I'm just kind of playing it right now because it's pretty top tier healer, and I usually play priest, and they absolutely blow right now. So I'm just gonna go over the baseline abilities and which talents to pick in arena, or maybe even RBGs. Alright, so when you start out, you have Blackout Kick, which is the same as it was in WoD and Mop. It's just for Mistweavers, it's just another damage ability. Crackling J Lightning, same thing. Kind of useless, honestly. You got Detox, which same as it is every expansion. It's just like a classic healer dispel. Removes all disease, magic, poison effects on the target. Really useful, I've noticed so far on Legion, because the strength of UA locks and Shadow Priest are actually gross. Then you have a Fuse, which is like, it's a new ability. It's pretty shitty, I'm not gonna lie. It's just it's really mana efficient, because Mistweavers have a lot of trouble with mana right now. Just a really mana efficient heal, single target heal, that afterwards casts Soothing Mist when you cast it. It's pretty mana efficient, really weak, kind of useless to use, unless you Aura Master it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Then you got Enveloping Mist, which it's pretty much the only reason why Mistweavers are good right now and forever. It's a hot that has a 1.88 second cast, which you can make it instant, which we'll talk about later, and it increases healing received from your other spells by 40%, which is huge. Pretty much you rotate this on cooldown. The only problem is it costs
A shitload of mana.
And then the next ability we have is called Essence Font. It's like an instant channeling cast. It's so far the pace of Legion and arenas so far in beta. This is just beta, but it's kind of, I rarely found myself using it. It's actually pretty useless. It costs like a huge chunk of mana and does like literally no healing. So I don't know. Then Healing Elixir is a talent, which we'll talk about later. You got Leg Sweep, which is a talent, talk about later. You got Life Cocoon, which is the classic bubble. Increases all healing over a time received by 50%, which is huge. It's just your basic bubble from WoD and all that stuff. Then you got Mistwalk's talent, talk about later. You got Paralysis, which is just your sap that you've had since the beginning of time. It incapacitates the target. It's 15-second cooldown, which is huge for healers, because for like, take Priest for instance, they have not very much CC. They have like a 45 or a minute cooldown, 45-second cooldown, I don't remember, stun. And then they have Mind Control, which they have to cast, and they can't heal any of their teammates while they have Mind Control, and they can get farmed, they can get kicked, and it gets interrupted. Paralysis is probably the reason why Mistweaver is really strong right now. You got Provoke. No, fuck you, Provoke. Reawaken. Fuck you. You're not really using PP, it's just a res. Renewing Mist. It's another hot, really strong. This so far on Legion Beta. Really strong. Each time Renewing Mist hits, has a 4% chance to increase the healing of your Vivify, which is huge. Let's see if we can proc it real quick, which I know we won't. But Vivify, if you get an instant proc for your Vivify right now, like Renewing Mist is just procced my instant Vivify, which heals huge. It's definitely the best ability you have in Legion so far. Heals, it's an AoE heal, heals a shitload when it procs. Increases the healing by 40%, so it's nuts. You got another res. You got Revival, which is a 3-minute cooldown, which it honestly kind of, I don't know. It can absolutely, when you use Revival, it can say that you have there's Affylock on the other team. They have Unstable Affliction on all your teammates. When you use that, it'll take the Unstable Affliction debuff, and it'll destroy it. So you gotta be really careful using it in PvP. It's only 165k. It feels like in the beginning of Legion beta, it was healing for a lot more, but it really, I mean, it's a nice like counter to bursts, but it's not as strong as I would like it to be. It's still pretty good, but it's 3-minute cooldown, so like arenas right now in Legion are less than like a minute. So you have Rising Sun Kick, which is another damage building. We'll get into a little bit later. You have Roll, which is just how it always is, just used to kite. You have your Artifact ability, which is it's really strong when you stack it. So if you get a 12 stack of Shallan's Gift, it's almost like a Nature Swiftness heal. It's pretty much, you can go from 0 to 100 with a 12 stack. 12 stack takes a little long to get. I usually use it between a 6 and a 12 stack. Anywhere between then, if you get a little desperate, you can start using it at 6 stacks. But if you use it any less than a 6 stack, it stacks all the way up to 12. It's pretty useless, honestly. Just another ability to get kicked on. Spinning Crank Kick, pretty much only used to try to get rogues and stuff out. Kind of useless PvP. Another talent we'll go over. Thunder Focus T is another ability that pretty much makes or breaks Mistweavers. It's your NS, or I mean not your NS, it's your Aura Mastery. So when you use this, you can't be kicked. And during this, you can cast a renew. It gives a special ability to about 4 or 5 of your abilities. Because Renewing Mist doesn't trigger a cooldown, which is, I can see it being used. You rarely use it on Renewing Mist when you Thunder Focus T. You have a Fuse, which makes the healing increase by 200% on your E-Fuse, which I still, even after 200%, it's still not that big of a heal. I like to pair it up. I like to pair up my Thunder Focus T with a Renewing Mist procced Vivify, so it increases by 40%, and it gives your Vivify no mana cost, which is huge. So like right now, gives your mana cost, it's huge, and it's a good AoE heal. You have Essence Font, and you can cast Essence Font while moving, which you really never use. The only time I used it is I usually use it for a Vivify, a Renewing Mist procced Vivify, followed by a 200% increase to Fuse. It's pretty much key with what you want to do with your Thunder Focus T. You have Tiger Palm, which is another basic ability that you pretty much have always had, just another damage ability, dealing ability. Tiger's Lust talent we'll discuss later. You got Transcendence, which is your port. You set up, then you Transcendence transfer to where you set up your Transcendence. You've had it since the beginning of time, so it's pretty key. Vivify, which is it's really mana inefficient. It's terrible for your mana, but I figured it's your biggest heal that I've noticed yet. It really helps keep your team up, especially paired with your Thunder Focus Ts and your Renewing Mist procced for Vivify. It's huge. Zen Pilgrimage, it's going to be used to go to your class hall. Then you got your Mastery. So a Fuse, Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, and Vivify also cause a gust of Healing Mist, and it's only healing the primary target for 30k. I'm not 100%, like I said, I'm kind of new to Mistweaver, but from what I've experienced so far is Gust of Mists, your Mastery for Mistweaver, just like last expansion, I don't find that important. I think that versatility, enchanting versatility and stacking versatility is still key compared to Mastery. You have Soothing Mist, so after you cast a Fuse, an Enveloping Mist, a Vivify, or Life Cocoon, you also trigger a Soothing Mist. This is the biggest change that I've noticed so far in Legion compared to WoB. So when you cast, say I cast Unifuse. Now I'm casting Soothing Mist, and it's unkickable. You can't be kicked. Does minimal healing, but it's key that you can't be kicked. You can line of sight with it. So if you're trying to heal your teammate, you need to get out of line. You see an incoming CC. You can toss an enveloping mist on your target, one of your teammates, and you can line with the Soothing Mist, which is huge. Pair with your Jade Serpent statue, which we'll talk about later. It's really strong, especially because you can't be kicked, but the heal is very weak. Then you got another passive. It's Tiger Palm causes your next blackout kick to strike an additional time, stacking up to 3. So you rarely find yourself damaging as a Mistweaver, but when you do, say you're in a 3v3 and it ends up being a 2v2 and you're just kind of fucking around. And it also has blackout kick, has a 15% chance to reset the remaining cooldown rising, says sun kick. So if you're gonna go do damage to somebody, ideally what you want to do as a Mistweaver is you'll run up Blood Fury, which is an Orc racial, triple stack Tiger Palm onto him, spam blackout kick into a rising sun kick. Yeah, you actually do pretty good damage, especially if you need to get that like final kill on somebody and your teammates can't catch them. You do a decent amount of damage, but you rarely find yourself like able to even put off damage, honestly. And I'll get into talents. On the 15 tier talent, I've only really used Mistwalk. It's, especially right now in the way Legion beta is, you're kind of getting cucked all the time. You get trained pretty often. It's actually pretty good to avoid CC too. Mistwalk, you instantly dash to a friendly player to heal them, so it's kind of like almost like a port to your teammate. So you target your teammate and you just port to him. And it has a 20-second recharge, but you get 2 stacks of it, and it's a 40-yard range. So it's pretty big, especially when you're kiting. I can roll, port, and then Mistwalk to my teammate, which is huge. A lot of mobility, especially if you're getting trained by a double melee, which is pretty much Legion is right now. Outside Dot Cleaves. And you got Zen Pulse, which it's a 15-second cooldown, 62k damage to all enemies within 8 yards for the target. The ally is healed for 45k per enemy damaged. It's hard to kind of get off. If it's double melee cleave and they're training when you're damaged, say you have like a major Shadow Priest and they're training, you can Zen Pulse. You can get about like a 90k heal out of it and do a pretty decent amount of damage to the enemies, but it's just so much weaker than Mistwalk, I feel like. It's an instant cast. This would be my second option toward if you don't feel like you need to run Mistwalk. Mistwalk also heals them for 80.5k, so it's gonna heal almost just as much as Zen Pulse. That's what I've noticed. And then you have Chi Burst, which I haven't even used once. You have to cast it. It hurls a torrent of Chi energy up to 40 yards, dealing 61k nature damage to all enemies, 92k healing to the monk and all allies in its path. It's honestly the bottom tier talent for Mistweavers from what I've experienced. I definitely wouldn't recommend it for PvP. I could see it being good in like an RBG situation. You're trying to fight for the flag, you can get a big heal, big AoE heal. Then on our tier 30 talent, you have Chi Torpedo, which I find it got nerfed. Like, you don't do any healing with it. It torpedoes you forward a long distance, increases your movement speed by 30% for 10 seconds, stacks up to 2 times. It's just kind of useless now. It doesn't do, I mean, other than the movement speed increase, it doesn't do any healing, doesn't do any damage. It's just, I don't recommend it. I actually got Tiger's Lust. It increases a friendly target's movement speed by 70% for 6 seconds, removes all roots and snares. This is, I would say, makes Mistweaver a million times better. It's huge for utility on yourself if you need a kite, or on, if I play with a rogue pretty often, if you use the land to kill, say he's stuck in like a Nova or something, I can Tiger's Lust him, and it helps land the kill. It's landed me, my team, so many kills. You got Celerity. Reduces the cooldown of roll by 5 seconds and increases its maximum number of charge by 1. I can see this being useful if you pair it up with one of the honor talents. I'll talk about a little bit later. I really haven't used it. Could use 3 rolls. I could definitely see it being useful, but Tiger's Lust just provides so much utility for your team, and I think it's huge. Next, you got Life Cycles on the tier 45 talent. It reduces the mana cost of my Vivify by 20% when I cast Enveloping Mist, and Vivify reduces the mana cost of your next Enveloping Mist by 20%. I've been experimenting with this ability since Mistweavers have a really bad mana problem, and it's actually pretty good. It definitely saves you a lot of mana. I can see it being used, especially if you're versing like a dot cleave or something that you think is going to go deep into dampening. Next, you got Spear of the Crane, which teachings of the monastery causes each additional blackout to restore 0.65% mana. You rarely find yourself going offensive, so this I find almost useless in 3s. If you can get offensive, if you're playing like a Mongo comp, maybe, but I definitely don't recommend this talent in Arena. I could see having fun with it maybe in I actually can't even see you using this ever, honestly. You got Mist Wrap, which increases Enveloping Mist duration by 1 second, and its healing bonus by 10%. And you can cast Soothing Mist while moving. I think this is huge. So if you proc your Soothing Mist, you can use it while running, which is huge, especially if you want to run a line. And it increases the healing bonus of Enveloping Mist by 10%. So you have a 50% healing from all other spells after you casting Enveloping Mist, which I think Mist Wrap is key. Mist Wrap, I almost use in every game. I've been messing around with Life Cycles a little bit, just because I've been struggling with mana, but Mist Wrap, especially the length of the game so far in Legion Beta, Mist Wrap is pretty much a must. It actually really helps. Soothing Mist while running is actually really awesome. On the tier 60 talents, this is your CC tier. You got Ring of Peace. It's changed from WoD. So you form a Ring of Peace around a friendly target for 8 seconds. Enemies in that ring that use a harmful spell or ability will be knocked out of the ring. I rarely see myself using this ability. It might be okay if your team has enough CC and they're training one of your if you're playing with a caster and they're training one of your casters, and it can just help land CC. You can Ring of Peace, melee can't get to them. But I don't see I can see Ring of Peace maybe Windwalkers, but I don't really see it being used by Mistweavers, rarely. Next, you got the Song of Chi-Ji. Conjures a cloud of hypnotic mist that slowly travels forward. Enemies touched by this mist fall asleep and disoriented for 20 seconds. You'll almost never use this in PvP. You can throw it forward, the falls asleep, and any damage will break the sleep. It's pretty useless, honestly, in PvP. Next, we got Leg Sweep. This is pretty key. Paralysis and a Leg Sweep is your CC chain. It's been your CC chain in WoD. It's 45-second cooldown. Knocks down all enemies within 5 yards, turning them for 5 seconds. This is your CC. Paralysis and a Leg Sweep off your partner's CC or to set up your partner's CC is key. I take Leg Sweep almost 100% of the time. Ring of Peace, I could see you fitting it in, maybe, but very rarely. In the tier 75 talent, you have Healing Elixir, this is awesome. This is an awesome ability that they added. So you drink a Healing Elixir, healing you for 15% of your maximum health. Healing Elixir will automatically trigger if you drop below 35% health. And they had this last expansion that just automatically procced. It was built into a passive, I'm pretty sure. But now you can proc it yourself. It also procs when you drop below 35% health by itself, but you can proc it if you think you're gonna take just to help top yourself, or if you expect a burst to come soon, or just if you have an extra stack after you drop below 35%. That's what I find pretty often. Heals you for 15% of your maximum health. It's huge, partnered by an Enveloping Mist. Actually have Diffuse Magic. It got nerfed. It wasn't. It was a last expansion was 90% of damage, magic damage taken for 6 seconds or 5 or something like that, and transfers all currently active harmful magic effects on you back to their original caster if possible. I have not used this once. I don't see it being used very often. Healing Elixir is still huge. I mean, you can't. It's not like you can cast this on your teammates or anything. You can cast it on yourself. I rarely use this. Rarely. It could be good. It could be good. But Dampen Harm reduces all damage you take by 30% for the next 3 attacks that damage you for the 15% or more of your maximum health castable while stunned. It's too large of a cooldown, 3s or 2s or anything. You're gonna get so much more utility out of Healing Elixir on a 30-second cooldown, 2 stacks compared to Dampen Harm. I don't recommend Dampen Harm. I'd maybe Diffuse Magic, but most likely you're gonna take Healing Elixir every time. Next we got the 90 tier talent. I haven't experimented with Refreshing Jade Wind too much. From what I heard, it's not very good. It summons a whirling tornado around you, causing 68k, healing over 5.6 seconds up to 6 allies within 8 yards. Increase the healing of Essence Font. Once again, Essence Font costs so much mana. Almost cost 100k mana to cast it. Does shitty healing. Even 20% healing of Essence Font by 20% does nothing. It's literally useless from what I've experimented. But and this, your teammates have to be close to you to use Refreshing Jade Wind. As Mistweaver, especially when you're leaping all over the map and porting and rolling to get CC, you don't find yourself very often that close to your team. I think it's useless. I don't know. Put a comment in the comment section if you think that, I mean, you do use it, or that I'm stupid, I don't know, but I think it's pretty useless. Next we got Invoke Chi G, the Red Crane. I could see it being good if it got some sort of buffs. It summons a little bird for 45 seconds and heals enemies nearby it for 35k. It can be kind of good. Like, you don't really have to do anything. Kind of just heals people for you. It's kind of like another little hot that you have on your team. But the thing that holds it back, which I never use it, is it's a 3-minute cooldown. If you have fast games, you're playing like a smoke bomb or something, and they're always fast games usually, maybe. But I never really use it, honestly. And then summon Jade Serpent statue. Kind of like it was WoD. Summons a Jade Serpent statue at the target location. When you channel Soothing Mist, the statue will also channel Soothing Mist on your target, healing for 50% as much. So you place it down, and the good thing is, if you're healing a teammate, you have Fuse on them, and you can line up sight with your Soothing Mist, and your Jade Serpent statue will cast Soothing Mist on them too. So it's a pretty big heal when you're lined to avoid CC. It's just kind of whatever. On our 100 tier talent, you have Manatee, which I can see when the game goes live and it's less bursty and they kind of balance out more. I can see Manatee being used pretty often. It's kind of a high cooldown, 1.5 minute cooldown to reduce the mana cast of your spells by 50% for 10 seconds. I can see it maybe being used if Mistweaver's, like, mana doesn't get fixed and they kind of still tier 1 healers and they kind of want to fit in with like the rock comp kind of healer. I could see it being used once Legion goes live. Focus Thunder is what I usually go with. So your Thunder Focus T, which is an aura mastery, and gives powers up 2 abilities your next 2 spell cast. This is what gives it 2 spell casts. Usually if you don't have this, it just gives it a 1, so you can only power up 1 ability. 2 charges is huge. So you can get a proc from your Renewing Mist into a procced Vivify. So you Thunder Focus T into a procced Vivify into an Infuse increased by 200% from your Thunder Focus. So you can get a pretty big heal off on a teammate to top them. Especially when you have like big bursts coming, you can use it as an Aura Master. You can just use it for a big heal, honestly. Next you got Rising Thunder. Rising Sun Kick resets the remaining cooldown Thunder Focus T. Once again, it's hard to find yourself going in and just cucking kids with damage. I could see it being kind of useful if you can go in there and get a Rising Sun kick on somebody. Which has the cooldown Thunder Focus T, but once again, Focus Thunder I think is just so much better because you rarely find yourself, and if you roll in and start doing damage and you get CC'd up and get cucked, like I just did not see doing damage as a Mistweaver being very good. Move on to our honor talents. You have Gladiator's Medallion, Adaption, and Relentless. Gladiator's Medallion is just a trinket. Now you have to spec into it. You can't buy it. There's no gear anymore. So moves all movement, pairing effects, and loss of control on your character for and it's on a 2-minute cooldown. Pretty baseline. It's been in every expansion. Adaption, literally
Useless.
all loss of control effects with a duration of 5 seconds or more will activate your Honorable Medallion spell, but only cause it to incur a 60-second cooldown. So you get a minute trinket instead of 2 minutes, but you don't have control over your trinket, which is huge. You could sit CC without your team dying all the time, so it's useless, especially as a Mistweaver, because you a lot of times have to trinket bubble. You try to hold your bubble, get a little too greedy, you have to trinket bubble. You do that very often. So Adaption, I could just see you just getting cucked. People can even predict that. Say you're getting trained by a double melee, they could stun you up, not go on that go, see that you're running Adaption because you trinket their first go, and then on the next go just use all, and you have no cooldowns. You have no trinket to get out of any CC for the next go. I can see it being, it's just, I feel like it's useless. Relentless, duration of incoming crowd control effect reduced by 25%. This is huge for DPS specs, especially running Orc, any Orc melee especially. Paired with Hardiness, which duration of stun effects reduced by an additional 20%. So if you get stunned playing any DPS class, it's almost like a DR stun. I don't see this being useful for healers, because especially for things like shamans or Mistweavers that have to all, like 50% of the time they're bubbling or linking, they're trinket linking or trinket bubbling. So I find Relentless kind of useless as Mistweaver. I never run it. Always run Gladiator's Medallion. It's huge. Trinket bubble happens all the time. So I could see it being used, I could see it being used for any other DPS spec, but I just don't see it being used for healers very often. The next talents, we have Defender of the Weak. So after healing a target below 50% health, you gain 20% haste for 5 seconds. I don't see this being big enough for me to not go Zen Focus, but I would never use this as Mistweaver. I don't know about any other DPS spec using this, but as Mistweaver, for sure don't use it. Vim and Vigor, while you're at or above 80% health, healing increased by 20%. You're just another ability that, especially at the pace of Legion Beta, everyone does bongos, burst pretty often. So you're rarely at or above 80% health in Legion Beta. Almost never. So I see this not being used either. Because Zen Focus is just so huge that both these are useless. It makes your Thunder Focus T an Aura Mastery. So when you Thunder Focus T, you can't be silenced or interrupted for 5 seconds. So you can Thunder Focus T, Vivify, Effuse, and Vivify sometimes, and it gives you can get 3 casts off without being interrupted, which is huge, especially when your team's taking a lot of damage, especially spread damage. It's huge. Zen Focus is a must. You need an Aura Mastery, especially at the pace of the game right now. If you're getting trained and you don't have an Aura Mastery, it's so hard to get heals off with all the Blood Elf silence, especially Horde being good now. Blood Elf silences, stuns, kicks. It's just Zen Focus is a must on this talent. On the next talent tree, we got Yu'lon's Gift. Using Roll will dispel all snares affecting when you use it. This is kind of interchangeable with Eminence. especially when you're getting trained by classes that have slows, it'll get you out of, when you roll, it'll get you out of all those, all the snares. So it's pretty big when you're getting trained. I don't use it very often. It's good. You could definitely, if you're more comfortable with that, you could definitely use it. But I see, since I have 2 charges of Mistwalk, 2 rolls, a port, I don't see myself using it as much as I do with Eminence. Eminence reduces the cooldown of your Transcendence transfer by 5 seconds and increases the healing of your Mistwalk by 30%. The Mistwalk heal is pretty big. 30% is pretty big, and it reduces the cooldown of your port by 5 seconds, which is actually 5 seconds. You think it's not a lot, but it's actually huge in Arena. I definitely notice when I don't have it and when I do have it. So I'd go Eminence. Yu'lon's gets interchangeable. Fast feet, move 15% faster for 3 seconds after being attacked. I just never see it being used. With all the slows in the game, it's not really useful. On the next talent tree, we have Surge of Mist, which Enveloping Mist is now an instant cast, but has a 6-second cooldown. This is huge. This is what makes Mistweaver super good right now. So, when you're in PvP combat for your honor talents to work, Enveloping Mist is usually a 2-second cast. Making it instant lets you pop out of line and put a Enveloping Mist on your target, and it really helps stabilize your team, or even when you're getting kited, you don't have to cast your biggest heal. So, being able to put a Renewing Mist, Enveloping on yourself, 2 instant casts that you can't be interrupted, and you can just kite while those are both hot so they can heal you while you're kiting. It's huge. It really, I think without instant Enveloping Mist, Mistweavers suck. Honestly. Wave of the Crane. Increase your physical damage by 50%. You become immune to all standard root effects. You heal up to 3 nearest allies for 20% of all damage done. You never see yourself going this because instant Enveloping Mist is so strong. It's kind of like the way Holy Paladins are played right now, where you go offensive and it heals your teammates. I just don't see yourself. You just put yourself in a shitty situation because you don't have the sacks, you don't have the bops, you don't have the bubble like Pallies do. So you just put yourself in a shitty situation when you try to go in there and lay down the lumber. I think I could maybe see some people using it for like a smoke bomb or something. You go really offensive, kind of like make or break. But I have not really used it. Next, you got Ancient Mistweaver Arts. Soothing Mist is now an active spell and no longer automatically applied through casting a Fuse and Enveloping Mist. It's a bigger Soothing Mist. I never use it. Soothing Mist doesn't heal enough to make a difference. You get it after you cast normal abilities, and it's uninterruptible. I don't see myself using this here. I think Surge of Mist on this talent tree, you have to go it. 100% have to go it. On the next talent tree, you got Chrysalis. I don't know how to pronounce it, but reduces the cooldown of Life Cube by 9 seconds, which is pretty huge because Life Cube's pretty big cooldown. It's 3 minutes, so if you're not running this talent, you don't really get the chance to bubble more than once, especially at the pace of the game. Maybe later, but you don't see yourself. It's pretty big. You definitely notice, especially if you're getting trained, or you just need to shove bubble in the opening burst, because burst is so, you almost always have to bubble in the opener right now because of the pace of the game. But just shoving bubble in the beginning to mitigate that damage and be able to use your revival later and your Thunder Focus T later, and being able to get Life Cocoon back during the time of the arena, it's pretty big. You got Counteract Magic, which is, I definitely fuck with Counteract Magic. Renewing Mist heals for 200% more when the target is affected by damaging periodic magical effects. So when your teammates have dots on them, Renewing Mist heals for 200% more. It's actually crazy how much healing your Renewing Mist does. I find myself way easier to keep my team up when you're versing anything with dots. On Holy Decays, UA Lock, Shadow Priest, Sub Rogues, Counteract Magic is huge against those. Against a UA Lock or so you're playing a Shadow play, this saves you. You can line a lot of Void CC, get an Enveloping up with a Renewing Mist, so your whole team has renewing mist on it, 200% more, and it procs to vivify. So it's huge against dot cleaves. I almost run this all the time instead of bubble. Without this against dot cleaves, you struggle. And you go, if you do make it through, you're So counteract magic is huge. Dome of Mist. Enveloping Mist transforms 100% of its remaining periodic damage into a Dome of Mist when dispelled. So if you get your Enveloping Mist purge, you get dispelled, Shadow Priest, 100% of it transforms into a absorb. So once again, Chrysalis and Counteract Magic are just so huge that, and since Surge of Mist or Enveloping Mist is such a not a long cooldown, I don't see Dome of Mist being very useful. And it's an instant cast. It's not like you're working to get Enveloping Mist on your teammate. So I think Dome of Mist is kind of useless. On the bottom talent, you got Fortune Turned. Your Fuse applies Fortune Turned to the target, increases the healing received by your next Fuse by 15% for 6 seconds. And it stacks up to 3 times. I could see if the pace of the game gets slowed down, I could see this being a really cool ability. So, just when you cast an Fuse on your teammate or you, increases healing by 15%. So you can get 45% increased of Fuse, which is pretty big, especially if you pair that with a Thunder Focus T, so it's 245% more. I could see it being used once the pace of the game kind of slows down. Right now, I don't ever see myself using it. Hopefully you can, because it's a kind of cool ability. It gives you something to look out for, another kind of skill cast ability, kind of cool. Refreshing Breeze, increase the healing of Vivify by 20%, and Vivify refreshes duration of renewing mist on target. This ability with Counteract Magic against dot cleaves slays. So when I have renewing mist on my targets or all my teammates, I Vivify. It refreshes the duration of renewing mist. I don't have to waste the mana. I don't have to waste anything, and increase the healing of Vivify by 25%, which is already huge. So you can get your proc from. You can Enveloping Mist, which healing received by their spells is increased by 40%. Your proc from Renewing Mist, which healing is that's 80%, into a Vivify with Refreshing Breeze, increases it by 25%, which is huge. It's a big heal. Proc with a Renewing Mist proc Vivify is huge. It really can kind of balance out your team. Healing Sphere out of the mist of the target location after 1.5 seconds. If allies walk through it, they consume the sphere, healing themselves for 91k and dispelled of all harmful periodic magic effects. Axum Healing Spears, 3 Healing Spheres can be active to the monk anytime. I don't see Refreshing Breeze. To me is just so strong because Vivify is your only castable heal that actually does anything. You can spam a Fuse and not top yourself. So, proc to Vivify, Refreshing Breeze, I think, right now at the pace of the game, I could see Fortune Turn being good. But right now at the pace of the game, Refreshing Breeze is huge. And, yeah, that's it for the end of the Mr. Guide. This is my first guide. It's probably shitty as fuck. But, hey guys, if you guys want me to make any other guides for any other classes, just leave a comment on what class I play. Priest, DK, Mr. I can make a guide for a lot of classes. So if you like the video, subscribe, like it, thumbs up it. Yo, what up? Alright guys, well thanks for watching.